What's going on, people? Welcome back to another Kaiju Film Discussion, one of my most favorite films of all time in the Godzilla franchise. Number 2, in fact, of Godzilla versus Gigan. And I'm going to give a huge shout out to 3 special people that helped me make this video possible. First off, Brutazilla, thank you very much for being a part of this Kaiju discussion. I really do appreciate it, as well as your invaluable input. Number 2, Steve Harron, thank you for the use of your pics through the course of this video. And John Ruffin, thank you also for the use of your pics during the course of this video. You'll see both the Steve and John's pictures during the course of this video. Hit up Steve Harron on Facebook to see more of his awesome imagery with X Plus figures and other figures to depict awesome scenes from my favorite kaiju movies. And expect the same from John Ruffin. Also hit up his website, mykaiju.com. Once again, mykaiju.com. Thank you all for helping make this video possible. All right, so let's jump to the year of 1972, where we have alien cockroaches disguised as human beings create a children's park and unleash space monsters from outer space, and in a titanic tag team battle with our favorite Earth monsters to create one of the best Godzilla films out there. I know this film maybe gets a lot of flack for a lot of the goofiness, and you got monsters talking. Like I said, you have alien cockroaches, and but still, there's so many great things going for this movie that is just, oh my god. But I hope y'all do enjoy the conversation and audio kaiju discussion of 1972's Godzilla vs. Gigan. All right, I hope you have a good time. Thank y'all, and I'll see y'all again on the next figure and move review. Let's get the discussion started.
Yeah! Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? What? Yeah! Y'all ready to play some football? Just got some big things. Let's go! If you want it, you can get it. Let me know. I'm about to...
What's going on, people? LP2000 right back at you with another audio kaiju discussion. And right now, I have my brother from another mother. The second go around that this awesome Godzilla YouTuber has been here. I got the one and only Butch Bollinger, but you know him better as Brutazilla. Brutazilla, how you doing, sir?
Good, man. I'm doing good.
Thank you for being a part of this discussion. And we are talking about the 1972 Godzilla film, Godzilla vs. Gigan. Let me just preface this by saying this, ladies and gentlemen. This is one of my most favorite Godzilla films of all time. And knowing Brutazilla like I do, I know that this is one of his most favorite Godzilla films of all time. So it's really appropriate that we're doing this together. I'm really looking forward to hearing what he has to say and us talking about this really cool film, despite the popular misconceptions with the film about monsters talking and alien cockroaches that assemble a children's amusement park. We'll get into that later on. But before we do, I want to ask Brutazilla a couple questions. First of all, I know, Brutazilla, you have got some major great news involving a certain Godzilla event coming up in July of this year. You want to let your subscribers and everybody else listening what's going on?
Oh, yes. I am finally going to my first G-Fest.
Woo! That's my wife. That's my wife in the background. Say hey, babe. Woo! Yes, he's finally going. You hear that, people? We finally put the brand to his butt side, and he's finally going. Yes. Woo! All right. So as you can tell by myself and my beautiful wife, we are really excited because this is Brutazilla's first time going to G-Fest, and I'm sure it's been a long time coming. So you want to talk about that just a little bit? I guess the events that led to you finally doing what you need to do to get to G-Fest?
Well, I guess you could say it's the only thing. I guess the thing that made me want to go was probably meeting one of my other brothers from another mother, Everett Grondin. Everybody knows him as Godzilla Fan Freaks because he came to visit me after G-Fest. He came to my work, and we were just, during my break, we had about 30 minutes or so we were just talking, and he was telling me about G-Fest and everything that he got and how fun it was, and I got to meet everybody, and including you, Leslie, and just how how exciting it was, like how much, like, just asking them questions here and there, and just got me thinking. I always wanted to go to G-Fest. It's like, I love Godzilla so much. It's something I always wanted to be a part of. I've been getting G-Fan magazines since I was young, seeing all that in the magazines, and I thought, I just want to go at least once. If I'm sure once I go once, I'll probably want to go all the time. But at least, like you said in your video, one of your videos, Leslie, you said at least go once. Every G-Fan owes it to himself to go once. So that's why I pretty much said, I'm doing it. I'm going once. I have to try it at least once. To meet everybody, to see all that Godzilla goodness out there, and that's pretty much what did it. Pretty much.
And you know what? I'm really happy to see that you're finally going, because it's going to be nice to see your reactions to everything, to the people, because we really had a great time up there. I've said that numerous times. My wife and I had a great time, because it was our first time going last year, and mind you, we didn't have any kind of like bad misconceptions about if we come across bad people. We went in it with a positive frame of mind, and everything that happened was really reciprocated. It was a really positive atmosphere, a very fun atmosphere. And it's even more so special now this year that you're going, because, we got Shin Gojira coming up, the first classic Toho Godzilla film from Toho in what, 12 years? 12 years? Yeah, the Final Wars came out in 2004, so 12 years.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of hype going on about the film, which also Godzilla 2014 kind of contributed to. A lot of hype about the film, comparisons to the original 54 film. So yes, it's really is going to be a special G-Fest. Not trying to say other G-Fests, past G-Fests have not been special, but it's kind of really special this year, and the fact that you're going for the first time because of all that and more is really going to be exciting to see.
And the fact that Akira Takarada is going to be there too, so that's a plus right there too.
Oh yes. Akira Takarada, one of the most extraordinary and basically one of the most key actors from the Godzilla series. He's been probably in the most epic Godzilla films ever, from the original Godzilla, Mothra vs. Godzilla, Godzilla vs. Monster Zero, Godzilla Final Wars, whatever, King Kong Escapes. He's just been in almost every landmark Godzilla film in the franchise's history. So it's gonna be good to see him there. But yes, once again, we're so happy that you're going, and we're so happy to hear what you have to say once you get there. I'm sure you're going to chronicle a lot of things, take a lot of photographs. I'm sure the videos that you're going to do afterwards, recounting the event, is going to be good also.
Oh yeah.
So, but before we get to Godzilla vs. Gigan, I got one more thing I want to ask you. I want to do another kaiju discussion with you, and if you didn't mind, would you be willing to do another kaiju discussion with me, like this one?
Oh yeah.
Guess what the film's going to be?
No questions asked. Oh yeah.
Guess what the film's going to be?
Oh boy, is it going to be what I think it's going to be?
Won't you say it and I'll tell you.
84?
Absolutely.
I had a feeling.
Yes. So, yes, fans, listeners, whatever. My next kaiju discussion with Brutazilla is going to be the iconic Heisei film that's kickstarted the Godzilla Heisei film series, Godzilla 1984, or The Return of Godzilla, or as we kind of know it in the United States, Godzilla 1985. So be on the lookout for that. We'll probably get that to y'all sometime next month. But right now, let's go to the year of 1972 with Godzilla vs. Gigan, and I'll let you have the floor first, Brutazilla. Tell me about this film as it relates to you. Like, how much do you love this film? When was the first time you remember seeing this film, and how has this film impacted your life as a Godzilla fan?
Okay. Well, pretty much I've seen the movie when I was young, as most others have, growing up. They played it on television a lot, and they had it on VHS tapes. I used to rent it from my local Blockbuster a million times, and my mom ended up buying them on VHS tape for me at a store. The movie is, I can basically recite the whole movie from heart. You know, of all the every dialogue and stuff in the movie. I just love the movie. It's definitely one. It used to be my number 5 in my top 10, but you know, I thought about it. I'm like, you know, I'm bumping it up to number 3 at least. I just love the movie that much. The fights, even though there is some stock footage, you know, the fights that are in the movie just so iconic. I just love, and Gigan, I just love Gigan to death. He's definitely one of my favorites. My favorite kaiju would have to be Godzilla, but I guess if I had to pick a second kaiju from the Godzilla universe, it would probably be Gigan.
Right.
I just love the way the Showa version.
Absolutely.
I just love the way he looks, and just a really cool kaiju, and yeah, you know, I just love the movie so much. Just a crazy story, and yeah, that's pretty much what I gotta say. I think that's what you asked me, wasn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I want to. You obviously cover how it has impacted your life, and I'm sure you will elaborate more once we go to our final thoughts. Let me move into my thoughts. My thoughts of the film, initial thoughts. This is one of the earliest Godzilla films I ever seen when I was a kid, and obviously I was blown away by it. I loved it very much, and that love has continued to grow over the years. Like, it's really to me, it really is a fun film, despite the flaws. I know it's flawed to people. I know that. But it's one of those films where I can just pop it in at any time and just watch it over and over and over again and just be entertained and just enjoy just the overall fun aspects of the film. And you mentioned story about being a crazy story, but let me just go to a little bit of backstory about this film before we get into more details about it. Originally, Godzilla vs. Gigan was not going to be what it was when we saw on film. Originally, Godzilla, after the events of Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster, and I don't have to tell you how Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster, even though it's kind of a weird psychedelic film, and it's good on certain levels, it really didn't please the hierarchy in Toho, to put it lightly. So they wanted to bring the next Godzilla story back to like his glory days during the 60s. And they came up with a couple of treatments. The first treatment was Godzilla versus the Space Monsters, where it would be King Ghidorah, Gigan, and Megalon fighting against Godzilla, Anguirus, and a Daimajin type of monster called Maijin Tuo. But for budgetary reasons, they couldn't get that idea off the ground. Then came the second idea, which was going to be called The Return of King Ghidorah, where it would have been Godzilla, Rodan, and Varan. And all three of them was going to be on the same side, taking on King Ghidorah, Gigan, and a new monster called Mogu. I guess a flying monster that could fire an oil beam from its mouth. And actually, the emphasis would have been more on King Ghidorah. Hence the name of the title of the film, The Return of King Ghidorah, and Gigan was going to be like the sidekick. But once again, for budgetary reasons, they decided to just eliminate that and just basically take Godzilla, bring back Anguirus, to reuse the suit that was used to destroy all monsters, have them be opposed by Gigan and King Ghidorah, and with the focus being on Gigan and instead of King Ghidorah. So that's how pretty much, it's a lot more detailed than that, but that is basically the gist on how Godzilla vs. Gigan came about. And considering all that, how do you think the changes as far as like switching the focus from King Ghidorah to Gigan, you think it really helped the film?
I think it does. For the one we got, not the ones you were mentioning, but for the Godzilla vs. Gigan we got, I didn't know they were going to do all that with those different stories. I heard it was just going to be Godzilla and Rodan fighting Gigan and King Ghidorah, but I didn't hear all the other stuff. That's pretty cool to know. I didn't know about some Daimajin copy monster, or you said the Mogul monster who's supposed to be a flying space monster or something.
Yeah, it's supposed to be some kind of some kind of monster that can. I think they can fly. They can like do like a. They can fire like a beam from its mouth or whatever. I mean, that's the. I don't know much more about the monster per se, but that's what I was able to uncover on my research on the pre-productions of the film itself. I think Godzilla the Smog Monster had really a lot to do with it for the formation of this film, obviously, because in Godzilla the Smog Monster, say what you will about it being a fun film or whatever, they did have Godzilla doing some uncharacteristic things, you know, from being more human, him flying. So for them to try to bring back, like, some epic tales that he has done, like in Monster Zero or Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, I think for them to want to do that was really, really good, which explains how everything was laid out in Godzilla vs. Gigan anyway. So I think it worked I think it worked to the film's advantage. But with that being said, I have to ask you, 'cause I know we both love this film. We really do. It's kind of hard to really, well, maybe it's not hard to try to find what we don't like about it, but let's just go ahead first with it. Tell me what you don't like about Godzilla vs. Gigan, and what would you do to change it?
That's really tough because there's really nothing I don't like. There's nothing I don't like about this movie. I just love this movie. You know, I can't. There's nothing really. Honestly, I can't say anything I would change about this movie.
Oh, really? That's interesting. That's cool.
Well, I guess if there was one little minor thing, I guess I would say it would be maybe the stock footage, but I guess that wasn't their fault since apparently King Ghidorah, the suit or whatever, was kind of not what it used to be, or maybe the budget was messed up or something. That's why they didn't have, he wasn't really moving and crazy like he was in the older movies, just kind of mostly stood there and watched kind of half the time.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned that. I'll let you continue. I'm going to cut you off, but I think a lot of folks fail. What I think a lot of folks fail to realize is that because I see a lot of people tend to attack this film because of some of the goofiness that comes with the film, and I can understand their point of view, and I can understand their allegations or their reasoning of not wanting to like the film. But you have to realize, like you said, budgetary reasons. This film, as well as majority of the 70s films, at least all the 70s films, they had half the budget of a 60s Godzilla film. You know what I'm saying? So basically, you're giving $20 when before you had $40 to do something like that. I mean, that's just an analogy. So basically, they had to do what they had to do to get the story told. So if that meant using stock footage or stuff like that to fill in scenes, to fill time, that's what they had to do, especially if they had the footage there at their disposal. So I think a lot of folks don't really give that into consideration. But then again, like I said, everybody's entitled to their opinion and how they feel about it. But that was one of the major, one major, I guess, what's a word to, obstacle that was facing the film. The fact that the budget was not on par on what it should have been, whatever. But I think that through it all, I think despite the problems, I still am pleased with this Godzilla film through it all. With that being said, do you have any other gripes with the film, or that's pretty much it?
That's pretty much it.
Well, I hate to be a Debbie Downer. But I got three. And this is no way, shape, or form me trying to say I'm trying to bash the film, because I'm really not. It's just some things that I just see, that I've seen, and just something that I don't like. But at the same time, just because I don't like certain things about the film doesn't mean that I hate the film overall. Like I said, this is number 2 on my Godzilla film list as far as favorites, and that's saying a lot, because there are a lot of great Godzilla films out there, and for this one to come at number 2 really says a lot. So, with that being said, my first gripe with this film is the human characters. I think this is a weak bunch of characters. I don't get attached to them. I don't really feel for them. They just are generic characters that I really can't get behind. Of course, they have like funny moments, like the karate kicking karate butt kicking girlfriend, you know, of the title hero, and I guess the hippie with the corn on the cob thing, and you know he's always hungry and you know whatever. But other than that, I can't get behind the characters. I can't really get behind the aliens. They're just there, and they're not memorable to me. Now I enjoy them for what they are, but to me they're not anything memorable. Number 2, Anguirus. Anguirus. I love Anguirus. I know you love Anguirus, and maybe you can chime in on this more so a little bit. I don't like how Anguirus was positioned in the film. There are sometimes he wasn't positioned in a very fluent way. There are some scenes where he looks awesome, and there are some scenes he looks, or at least he's positioned as like just why is he even there? You know what I'm saying? Like the whole scene of him going to Japan the first time when Godzilla sends him to Japan, and he gets stopped by he gets stopped by the military. I don't really like that. You know what I'm saying? Because if you really think about it, if Anguirus was able to be stopped by the military, how are we supposed, as a viewer, to buy him as a strong partner for Godzilla when he gets opposed by King Ghidorah and Gigan? You want to touch a bit on that a little bit?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, it didn't really seem like the military kind of stopped him. To me, in my opinion, it just seemed like Godzilla, it's kind of weird. It's like Godzilla told him, hey, go check it out, you know, go see what's up or whatever, and he went, and it seemed like he was just like, I don't know, spectating, and then it seemed like the military just kind of, in my opinion, kind of annoyed him in a way. Like, they didn't really hurt him too much. It just, with the masers and stuff, but they just kind of annoyed him. He just got bored and just took off and went to get Godzilla or something. But like you said, it's kind of pointless because, like, what was that for, you know? What was he supposed to go check, you know, and just go to the shore and then just stand there and then just turn around, you know?
Right.
I guess it was just there to fill time, maybe? I don't know.
That's exactly what it was, because you gotta realize Godzilla didn't really do anything, nor did King Ghidorah and Gigan didn't show up to almost like the final act of the film. Now, I would give that scene more praise, and I would be more accepting to accept that scene being in there, because right now I don't see a point in the scene. If Anguirus would have just drove right through the military, because to be honest with you, Anguirus could have easily pushed through the military, and let's just say he would have made it all the way to Children's Land, and he would have saw the Godzilla Tower, and then let's say he'd been like, oh hell no, So he goes back to Monster Island and say, hey Godzilla, look, I don't know what's going on over there, but they got a huge statue of you at a children's park. We got to go back and see what's going on. All right, dude, let's roll. So that's why I think maybe, you know, if Anguirus would have made it to Children's Land and just seeing what was going on and kind of sensed something was not right. At that point, I wouldn't suggest you had the Godzilla Tower attack him, because that kind of came out of nowhere in Gigan, which kind of worked to the film's advantage. So maybe they could have done something like that. Had he made it to Children's Land and then saw something was not right, then went back to Monster Island to get Godzilla to tell him what's going on, and then they both hurried back to Japan. But then there's some scenes where Anguirus just doesn't exhibit intelligent behavior. Like when he runs head first into Gigan's buzzsaw and gets chopped up in the face. But then there are times he has some breakout moments, like when he does that backward body slam into King Ghidorah and, you know, whatever. And but it's just, I guess my whole gripe with Anguirus is that his characterization throughout the film was topsy-turvy. It wasn't fluent. So, can you agree with that, or do you agree with that, or what?
I would agree that Anguirus is obviously, even though it kind of seemed like if Anguirus was just there and didn't, my opinion, didn't really help Godzilla too much at all, because it seemed like, if you watch the movie, Godzilla's always ended up saving Anguirus whenever he got the chance. Like, Anguirus would, like, get hit a couple times, and then he'd, like, you know, call or run to Godzilla or something. Like, when he was fighting Gigan, and Gigan kicked him Anguirus runs up to Godzilla, and Godzilla's like, "What? I'm busy," you know. And then he's facing Gigan, and then King Ghidorah attacks him from behind or something with the lightning bolts.
Right.
But it just seemed like Anguirus. I don't know. I love the tag team match. I love Anguirus, but it just seemed like he wasn't really too strong of an ally to Godzilla. And that in a way, it seems that's why Godzilla got beat up so bad, you know, because he had to fight all three of them: the Gigan, King Ghidorah, and then the Godzilla Tower.
Right.
You know, kept shooting with the laser beams and stuff.
Right.
And Anguirus, you know, poor Anguirus couldn't really do nothing. You know, he just got, you know, one electrical beam, he'd fall down on the ground. Or when he was trying to save Godzilla, I guess you could say, when he was trying to save Godzilla from the tower and Gigan was in his way, I guess Kamikaze's going to do it, so that's why he ran straight first into his Gigan's buzzsaw or something. I don't know, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because I love Anguirus. We both do, but I just think that maybe had this been the Anguirus from the Godzilla 55 film, he was more aggressive. Maybe it could have been a more entertaining fight. But I think Anguirus in this film, the way he's positioned, was there to run interference to give Godzilla the edge. Because really, in a way, Godzilla kind of takes out both Gigan and King Ghidorah by himself in a way. Where Anguirus gets like a few hits here and there, but it's not like I can honestly say that Anguirus like kept up his weight of the opposition. You see what I'm saying? But that's my second major gripe with the film. My third and final major gripe of the film, I'm just going to get into it, is King Ghidorah. You know, I'm a huge King Ghidorah fan. He's my favorite Godzilla villain in the entire franchise. And I say this before, and I'll say it again. If there was a Godzilla story in which Godzilla really should have been defeated, it's really this story. Because King Ghidorah is basically a one-army monster by himself. The fact that he has backup in both Gigan and the Godzilla Tower, and consider how weak of an ally Anguirus is in certain areas, there is no way that Godzilla shouldn't have been able to prevail from this onslaught. You see what I'm saying? And
yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and then as far as like King Ghidorah is concerned, it's just that there are times where King Ghidorah just stands there that doesn't really do anything. And I can understand what you just said, for like the budgetary reasons that he wasn't his vibrant, dynamic, aggressive, version of himself when he first appeared, when he first debuted. But I think that had Gigan would attack on the ground and had King Ghidorah attack from the air, had they just concentrated their efforts a little bit better, they really should have won that fight between Godzilla and Anguirus. So that's my third gripe about the film, that King Ghidorah wasn't done any favors in this film, which also leads me into why I love the film so much. And I'll just touch on that now, then I ask you about what you like. I really love how these monsters came together. And to me, in my opinion, this Godzilla film has the best fight scene in all the Godzilla films. And that's saying a lot. And I know a lot of folks are probably going to disagree with that. But that's just my opinion. I think as far as like a fight scene, this film has one of the best, if not the best, fight scenes in an entire Godzilla film. And I love the fight scene so much when they oppose each other. All of them oppose each other at the oil refinery. How that whole place didn't just explode is beyond me. Because they are on an oil refinery, and how all four of them didn't get burnt the hell up is beyond me. But the Children's Land fight, just Godzilla coming back at the end, really is one of the best things I love about this film. What do you like most about Godzilla vs. Gigan?
Pretty much the fight. Like you're saying, it's a great fight. You know, even though they had stock footage, I love the stock footage. You know, even though it's just old scenes from Ghidorah, Three-Headed Monster, Monster Zero, and a little bit from Destroy All Monsters. You know, it shows King Ghidorah in his glory, what he used, what he somewhat used to be back then. But like I said, the fights are good, the music's good. My favorite music or theme or whatever from that whole movie is probably that Godzilla versus Gigan theme or whatever. I think they play it once in the beginning, and then they play it again when Godzilla's going to fight Gigan. Finally, one-on-one after the tower beat him up or whatever. And I also love like how Anguirus finally gets his moment to shine. You know, when Godzilla tells him the plan or whatever, and then Anguirus just backs up and does that backflip thing or the backslide, whatever. I don't know what it's called, but against King Ghidorah, they both knock each other out or whatever.
Right. And what's funny you mentioned about the soundtrack, because I done some research on this film, and actually this is the only film in the series that didn't have an original soundtrack, or it didn't have music made specifically for this movie. Almost every piece of music in this film is pulled from other films, like Frankenstein Conquers the World, Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, Martha vs. Godzilla, The Battle in Outer Space, Destroy All Monsters, King Kong Escapes. Great epic Akira Ifukube themes and pieces of music is in this film because it didn't have an original soundtrack to begin with. And I think that every piece of music that they use for each scene really fit the scene and really fit how to tell the story, because music can really tell a story too. And I hate going back to this, but I can't help it when like the scene where they go back and forth between Godzilla and Anguirus swimming, and Gigan and King Ghidorah destroying Tokyo. Just the music is just awesome. And then when Godzilla finally rises up at the oil refinery and they do that Martha vs. Godzilla theme, oh my God! One of the best pieces of music and the way they use it for that scene is just really awesome. I mean, I enjoy that so much. That's like my favorite scene in the entire film, really. Just to see them do that there. So, what else you love about Godzilla vs. Gigan, or what else makes this film stand out to you?
The scene you described, obviously, where Godzilla, rises up, and then the music too. It fits him, and like I said, basically the fights and the dialogue. The dialogue in the movie is really funny. Just a lot of memorable dialogue. Just, I guess you could say some of them are, just funny. Like, what was that one part where he calls her, is it alright if I cuss on this or no?
No, go ahead.
Okay, here's when he calls her a hard bitch or whatever. She's like, "What's that? Can you repeat that?" "Oh no, I won't." "Not with you being a black belt in karate."
Yeah.
Just funny little liners like that, And then obviously the most famous one that people like or they possibly make fun of or whatever. "Oh my gosh, I think he fainted. Oh, he must have thought it was a gun." He just pulls out a corn or something. But yeah, just the dialogue, the fights. And then possibly my favorite, I think my favorite part in the whole movie, if I had to pick one favorite thing in the whole movie, besides like the fight or whatever, and the music, would possibly be the Godzilla fighting Gigan one-on-one after, he gets up and he's pissed off, he's ready to fight, and Gigan and him fight one-on-one. They got he beats his chest like King Kong, and then the girl goes, "Godzilla's strong again," and then they start fighting one-on-one. And then the Gigan theme plays. That's probably my favorite part,
Yeah.
The whole movie, pretty much. I just love that part when he tail whips him, and then he just beats him on the ground and stuff.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that because for the film to be titled Godzilla vs. Gigan, to be honest, Godzilla and Gigan don't really fight that much in the film. Really, the majority of the fighting. Really, Godzilla fights King Ghidorah and Anguirus fights Gigan. It's only at the tail end when Godzilla gets re-energized when Godzilla and Gigan tangle. Now, they do mix it up a little bit at the oil refinery, but majority of the fighting, Godzilla fights King Ghidorah and Godzilla vs. Gigan, which I think is kind of weird, considering what's going on. But then again, Godzilla vs. Megalon, the next film, kind of does the same thing because Jaguar fights Megalon more so than Godzilla does in a way. So,
yeah.
But I think that's kind of interesting there. But despite all the misconceptions, or at least the flaws about the film, and I can understand about the flaws of the film. You know what I'm saying? The over usage of stock footage, but you got to realize, like I said, and I'm not saying anybody to overlook those things because it's kind of hard to overlook. Where you can pretty much tell Godzilla appearance changes from certain scenes to the next, and sometimes they don't do a good job of disguising, or at least tinting the footage of the film, because sometimes they pull footage from other Godzilla films. They illustrate Godzilla and King Ghidorah fighting, and mind you, majority of the fights that happen in Godzilla vs. Gigan is at nighttime. But when they pull the footage to splice it in to fill time, it's clearly Godzilla fighting King Ghidorah in a daytime setting. So they didn't really go the extra mile to try to make this footage seem more fluent with the real time footage. But at the same time, you have to at least try and give the director credit, Mr. Jun Fukuda, credit for at least trying to make something, try to make the most out of a bad situation, or make the most out of the limited resources that he was given. And that's one thing I can say about him as a director, because he did 5 films: Son of Godzilla, Godzilla vs. Sea Monster, this film Godzilla vs. Gigan, Godzilla vs. Megalon, and Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 1974. One thing those films have in common, to me, they are all fun. They are all fun, vibrant, colorful films that have great monster battles, great special effects, great stories. And that's what I love about him as a director, especially about this film. I mean, like I said, despite the problems of Godzilla and Anguirus talking, or just how bad the Godzilla suit looks, because in some scenes the suit is basically falling apart since this was the 4th time the suit was used. The over-reliance of stock footage, the weaker story, the weaker cast or whatever, just all that. Even though I'm sure there are problems that kind of may put like a damper effect on the film. To me, it doesn't, because the film excels on many other areas. That it allows me to just enjoy it more for what it is, despite the problems that glares you in the face. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and move on to our final thoughts. So, as far as Godzilla vs. Gigan, where do you rank this film to you, as far as you're concerned, and what has its impact has been on you? And what do you think the impact has the film had on the Godzilla series and Godzilla fan base as a whole?
I rank it, I guess you could say, from top 5 or top whatever. I would say it'd probably be my number 3 favorite Godzilla movie. It used to be 5, but I kind of bumped it up to number 3. I just, it's definitely one of my favorites, and I guess you could say it's got a lot of nostalgia, for me. Plus, my little cousin, who's like a little brother to me, he's a Godzilla fan too, but not as hardcore as I am. But he pretty much loves. This is his favorite of all the Godzilla movies he's seen. This is pretty much his favorite Godzilla movie. He loves Gigan. That's his favorite monster from the movies and stuff. So that's another reason why I like it. And I guess I could say, as far as people like it for the fan base, I'd say people probably rank it up there, maybe quite a bit, like pretty high, not as high as like maybe Monster vs. Godzilla or the original Godzilla, but pretty high, because when you think about it, it's Gigan's first appearance, the Showa Gigan, and he's such a popular monster, even though he starred in only 2 movies, 3 if you count Final Wars, but I'm talking about Showa Gigan.
Yes.
He's like Toho. I guess they said like something about him being a really, really super popular monster in Japan or something, and it's just weird how he's so popular, but they never put him in any other movies besides just those 2. The Taikama old days. Yeah. Even in the Heisei, we never got to see him in the Heisei movies either.
Only other time we did see Gigan was in that TV show Zone Fighter, and Zone Fighter actually destroyed him.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Zone Fighter.
Yeah, so Zone Fighter destroyed him, but I think this film is probably the best that Gigan has ever looked, ever performed, because he really was aggressive. He really was a killer. The fact he's the first monster to make Godzilla bleed. He's just been so aggressive, and then he was kind of toned down in Megalon, and in Final Wars he was aggressive too, but to me he was just defeated too easily in Final Wars. And I know that in the story, Godzilla is the most powerful version of Godzilla. I guess that's the point they try to drive home in the story on why Gigan was so defeated as well as the other monsters. But in this film, Godzilla vs. Gigan, the original one, this Gigan is off the chain. He's awesome. Like I said, he's aggressive. He's, he does most of the fighting because King Ghidorah, like I mentioned before, didn't really do that much, which is surprising to me. But I think that worked to the film's advantage because, like I said, if King Ghidorah would have been his former self, for one, it would have dictated that they would have had to have win in the story. And plus, it would have took away the overall attention away from Gigan, and that was the point of the film, to showcase Gigan, was to introduce Gigan. So I think they really did that good. They did that really good. Now, I don't like that from a fan, as far as being a King Ghidorah fan or whatever. Maybe they could have picked another monster to been an ally of Gigan, but come on. I mean, Gigan's a space monster, and who better to team him up with basically the king of the space monsters than King Ghidorah? So it does work. It does work. I mean, I know I kind of like think about it too much, but then again, like I said, I love this film so much, and despite my in-depth thinking about it, nothing can take away from the fact that this film is so good, so awesome, and like I said, it's number 2 on my list, and you said it's number 3 on your list. With that being said, would you recommend this to a kaiju newbie, like somebody who's never seen a kaiju film before, or would you have them see other Godzilla films leading up to this one?
Well, I would say, yeah, I would recommend it, honestly, because I don't really remember which one I've seen growing up as a kid, besides like Godzilla 1984, but I'll save that story for our 84 discussion. But for this here, I would say yes, because it's definitely one of the best Showa movies, and it's definitely one of the ones that introduced me to Godzilla.
Right.
And I'm a fan today, but I don't know. I guess yeah, I would say yes, for at least for one of the Showa movies, unless you go to like one of the best Showa movies like Mothra vs. Godzilla. But yes, I would highly recommend this one.
Me too. And I always say that when it comes to kaiju film recommendations, I always say watch the first Godzilla film just to get an idea of what's going on with the character or whatever. Now, mind you, if you watch Godzilla 54 and jump to this film, you're kind of going to be taken aback a bit, because both Godzillas are basically polar opposites from each other. In one film, he's a vengeful, hateful demon that destroys the world, and in the other film, he's a lighthearted, campy superhero that's coming to save the world. But with that being said, I still would recommend this film, and I will also caution people to there's gonna be some goofy elements in the film. There's gonna be some cheesy elements about bad alien cockroaches and monsters talking and stuff like that. But the overall presentation of the film is really, really good, and it's even more so. It's even more so better for me because upon doing some research of the film, it allowed me to see things about it that I never really understood before, or at least I never really taken consideration to consider. Like, for the fact, this is the first Godzilla film, like I said, where you introduce Gigan, an awesome popular monster among the fan base. The very first time that you see Godzilla actually bleed, which actually Eiji Tsuburaya, the special effects master that created special effects for Godzilla in the first place, since he was a more kid-friendly type of filmmaker, he was very opposed to Godzilla or extreme violence in kaiju films, especially Godzilla bleeding. So I know that he wouldn't have liked this because he died in 1968 or 69, and this film came out in 1972. So I'm sure had it been around, he probably would not allow it to happen. But I think Godzilla bleeding really helped the story because it proved how dangerous Gigan can be, and I think that really works. Like I said, this is the first time Godzilla Bleeds, the first time we ever see Gigan, a popular monster. Unfortunately, this is the last time we would ever see this Godzilla suit in action because, you know, it was in 4 films, and it really took a beating in Godzilla vs. Hedra. And it was really, this Godzilla suit was really like the first superhero Godzilla look that we ever gotten in the franchise. Also, this is the last time that Haruo Nakajima played Godzilla. You know, this is his last time, and which was kind of unfortunate, but and from what I understand, he had to be talked into coming back, to be honest with you. He kind of lost the passion to play Godzilla after Eiji Tsuburai's passing. And of course, because I think Eiji Tsuburaya passed during the pre-production or the production of Godzilla's Revenge in 1969, and I think they convinced him to come back for Godzilla vs. Smog Monster, but they really had to push him to come back for Godzilla vs. Gigan. And you know, even though he wasn't really too warm on the idea of coming back, you can't tell in the film because he gives a really awesome performance as Godzilla, and he really goes out basically in a blaze of glory. And also, this is the last time we ever see King Ghidorah in a Showa film. So many wonderful things about this film that a lot of folks don't want to give credit for, or at least don't want to take the time to research to give it credit for. And I mean,
and also, don't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, go for it. No, go for it, sir.
I was gonna say, you know how you're saying like that's like one of the most, like you're saying like it's Haruo Nakajima's last, and then King Ghidorah's last appearance and stuff. I was gonna say, I guess it's also the first. I know it's not the first movie, but I was gonna say it's the first like, I guess you could say first time. Two first things. One, the first time they I guess how Angers gets his title as Godzilla's best friend.
Yes, exactly.
And then also how I forgot what it was now.
Well, the first time that we saw a tag team kaiju battle.
Yeah. Yes. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
It's good. It's cool because I'm excited. Matter of fact, after we get off the discussion, I'm going to watch the daggone film anyway. But because it really is that good. It is to me. Now I know it's not going to be good to the next person, or it may not be as awesome to another person. That's fine. But I'm just saying, just try to overlook, or at least try not to hold some of the flaws that the film work that has against it. Don't let that dictate whether you are really going to be willing to enjoy the film or not. 'Cause it really is a good film. Like, it really is an awesome film. Don't you agree, Brutazilla?
Oh yes.
Yes, it really is an awesome film. And one last thing I want to touch on before we wrap this up. I really like how in the 70s films, I know a lot of people give the 70s films crap because what I hear some folks say a lot is the fact that they don't like how Godzilla was turned into this campy, goofy superhero in the 70s films, and that's an accurate opinion and reasoning behind something like that. But one thing you have to admit about the 70s films, maybe with the exception of Gigan, let's get not Gigan, but Megalon or whatever. Well, actually, no, you can include Megalon in this too, but for two different reasons. One, you have to admit that every fight scene in the 70s films are really, really long. Sometimes they occur at night and they don't end until like the very next day, or they just have a really, really long fight scene. And number two, every 70s Godzilla film or story had really, really odd stacked against Godzilla where it made you question how he was going to get out of it, or how he was going to win. Like, Hedra did that really good. In this film, where you have the incredible opposition of King Ghidorah and Gigan, Megalon, maybe less than Megalon, because we knew Godzilla was going to win that. The original Mechagodzilla film where Mechagodzilla was the ultimate badass and he was just beating down Godzilla and King Caesar, and in the final film when Godzilla had to take on both Mechagodzilla and Titanosaurus. Every 70s film really gave really question, at least put the question in your mind, how is Godzilla going to be able to prevail? But somehow he does, and really proves that he is truly a king of the monsters. But with that being said, I highly recommend this film, Godzilla vs. Gigan. It's one of the best films in the Godzilla franchise. It's number 2 on my list. It's number 3 on Brutazilla's list. And before we wrap this up, do you have any more final thoughts on Godzilla vs. Gigan?
I'm gonna watch it now. I'm probably gonna watch it when we're done too, man. Thinking about it, I want to watch it now.
Yes, I'm gonna watch it now too. Yeah.
But other than that, I highly recommend watching it. My favorite of all the Showa Godzilla films. That's saying a lot too. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yes. So pretty much. Thank you so much, Brutazilla, for being a part of this Kaiju discussion of Godzilla vs. Gigan 1972. Check out his YouTube channel, Brutazilla. You already know who he is. You know what he's capable of. You know he's a great Godzilla YouTuber. He's very informative. And, you know, just go to his channel, see his videos, and you will not be disappointed when you do become a subscriber. Just everything that this guy does really is awesome. And I'm happy to be a subscriber, and you should want to be a subscriber too. Once again, check out our next Kaiju discussion, which is his favorite Godzilla film in the entire franchise. I'm really looking forward to hearing what he has to say about this. Godzilla 1984 or The Return of Godzilla or Godzilla 1985. Once again, Brutazilla, thank you so much for being a part of this Kaiju discussion, and I will see you again when we talk about Godzilla 1985, all right?
Okay, you're very welcome, and go Godzilla.
There you go. Thank y'all for listening, and y'all take care, and we'll see y'all again in the next Kaiju discussion. Like I said, it's going to be Godzilla 1985. Y'all have a good evening. Take care. Good night.